My name is Lee, and I'd like to show how we solved our problem of video recording a choir and organ in a small space without a cameraman or tripod. The situation is up in the balcony behind me where you see the pipe organ. The choir members sit on either side of the organ, and there is a railing in front. As you can see, with people moving around in this limited space, it would not be a good idea to set up any camera tripods. We noted there is a fluorescent valance on the ceiling. To do recording, we made some temporary brackets on which we mounted a pan tilt head and a camera. In these videos, we show how we approached the problem. Part 1 shows some design considerations, the materials used to make a bracket, and some construction methods. Part 2 continues and also shows how some pieces were made and the suspension method we used. Part 3 shows how we were able to wire the components so that we could remotely control the cameras to frame them. I trust these videos will plant some ideas in your mind that you can use with your project. Enjoy! A simple bracket won't hang plumb. This sliding arrangement allows us to adjust the center of gravity, which will allow the entire bracket to hang perfectly straight. We also need to hang the bracket in such a way that it wouldn't sway. For materials, we use 11/16 inch round solid aluminum, 1 inch hollow square steel tubing, and 7/8 inch solid aluminum that would fit inside of the square steel tubing. To make the center of gravity slider, we used a punch for the square steel tubing and a drill for the solid square insert piece, both the same size as the round rod. The pan tilt and camera shelf is made from a 1/4 inch aluminum plate fastened to the vertical steel tubing using a side beam connector. We cut the aluminum and steel using a steel cutting saw blade. A table saw was used to make nice, clean, and square cuts. We used a transparent storage container to contain chips, but also wore a face shield. Notice the steel is cutting as easy as wood, it seems. We also cut the solid rod using the table saw. The cuts are easily dressed with a hand file. We punched a nice round hole for the aluminum rod to thread through. The punch actually works very easy, and it gives you a nice round hole, better than if you tried to drill it. If you could only drill it, you'd have to do some filing to get it nice and round. Notice how the pieces fit together. In order to create a strong end joint, we purchased some side beam connectors from the plumbing department of a hardware store and drilled 2 holes and threaded them. This thread came with the side beam connector. Notice that we ground down the side beam connector so that it would fit into the 1 inch steel tubing. Together this makes a very strong joint. The side beam connector is fastened to the tube using flathead screws, and therefore we countersunk for the heads. Remove some burrs, and now you see how the joint fits. In part 2 we show how we made the various pieces for the bracket and put it all together. It might be worth checking out.